Herzlich willkommen zur 11. Ausgabe vom Common Talks Podcast.
Heute hören wir endlich das Interview mit Billy Bragg, das jetzt zwar schon fast 3 Wochen oder sind es 4 zurückliegt.
Ja, wir hatten es ja in den vergangenen Folgen schon ein bisschen angeteast. Ja, wir haben uns mit ihm beim Summer's Tale Festival getroffen, wo wir auch eine Episode gemacht haben, könnt ihr ja mal reinhören. Und während Olli Schulz spielte.
Ja, schade.
Deshalb hört man noch ein bisschen das Dumm-Dumm-Musik im Hintergrund.
Ja, er war eigentlich so locker wie schon beim letzten Mal, ne?
Genau.
Ist ein sehr, sehr dankbarer Interviewpartner, wie ich finde.
Auf jeden Fall.
Redet auf jede Frage 10 Minuten, gibt er einem eine 10-Minuten-Antwort oder so. Aber ja, also man muss auch sagen, wir waren ganz schön beeindruckt. So, das merkt man auch die ersten 10, 12 Minuten. Da fragen wir relativ wenig und hören seinen sehr schlauen Ausführungen zu. Ne?
Genau.
Und dann irgendwann besinnen wir uns. Ach ja, wir hatten ja auch noch ein paar Fragen.
Ja, lustig fand ich beim Konzert, was er dann gegeben hat, wo er da gesagt hat, wo alle mitgesungen haben und er dann irgendwie so One More Time for Uncle Billy. Und dieses Uncle Billy, das ist es so. Das ist ja auch das, was er in Glastonbury, als er mit Frank Turner dieses Panel hatte, irgendwie, Frank Turner hat ihn auch immer Onkel Billy genannt. Und ich glaube, so sieht er sich jetzt auch. Also er ist nicht mehr der junge Revoluzer, sondern er ist so der die Jungen bei der Hand nimmt und in die richtigen Wege schubst irgendwie. So kommt mir das vor. Und das steht ihm irgendwie gut so, das Image, oder? Also er ist immer noch arg politisch, also sehr agitierend auch auf der Bühne und auch im Interview. Aber ja.
Man merkt auch, er will den Kelch so ein bisschen weiter reichen. Er
genau.
sagt ja auch, jetzt ist Zeit hier für eure Generation mal was zu machen.
Genau.
Ja.
Ja, na dann sagen wir mal, viel Spaß.
Viel Spaß mit Billy Bragg.
Yeah, hello, Billy Bragg. Last time we spoke was last year at Left Field in Glastonbury. We couldn't make it this year, unfortunately. But you had the finally reunited King Blues, among others, on stage.
We did.
How was it?
It was very strange. It was very, very strange.
How come?
Because on the Friday morning of Glastonbury, while we were all there, our country voted to leave the European Union.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, I would imagine 90, perhaps 95% of the people at Glastonbury felt they were strangers in their own country. We had, the day before, we had, not at Left Field, but somewhere else for the BBC, we had a debate about the European Union, and they had to find some people, just because it's the BBC, they have to have balance. They had to find someone to speak for leaving. They found one guy in the audience. There must have been 200 people. They found one guy. He put his hand up because all of us had voted already by post. You know, because we were there, so we already got a vote and post. We'd already voted, all of us. Anybody voted, he put his hand up. He stood up to speak, and he had a t-shirt which said, "Tell your boobs to stop staring at my eyes." Okay. So the guy with the sexist t-shirt is that everyone was like, oh God. So we wake up, we've left the European Union, the Prime Minister has resigned, and our main speaker for Left Field was going to be Jeremy Corbyn, the leader of the Labour Party. He cancelled because immediately his leadership was challenged. So everything just went crazy. But that night, on the Friday night, I had play in the tent, and it was an amazing feeling in the tent because everybody was so ramped up and angry about what happened, and my job was to try and take that feeling, you know, and sort of make a unity from it and make people feel some empathy. So it was an amazing show. My son, who's seen me a lot of times, has said he's never seen a show like that before. I mean, the tent was absolutely rammed.
Yeah,
and
intense.
It was, because it's my job to make these people feel they were not alone. That it wasn't the end of the world.
And because I had the feeling no one really expected that result.
Even the leader of the UK Independence Party, the party that's been pushing for this, on Thursday night, when the voting ended, he said he thought that they had lost.
Oh yeah, we saw that.
Farage. He said we thought, and we went to bed thinking that it was it was going to be close. We thought it would be close, but we thought we'd win. Next morning, we woke up, turned on the radio to hear the Prime Minister making the speech, and me and Juliet, my partner, as we listened to him, we realised, one, that we had lost, and two, that he was going to resign, and he did at the end of the speech. It was like, wake up, it's like. So yeah, it was very strange. It was strange at Glastonbury. I don't think it was only strange at left field either. I think it was strange everywhere.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I went to get my coffee. There was a lot of people your age recognised me and said, "What are we going to do?" I said, "Don't ask me. It's not on me. It's on you guys. It's on your generation now. You're the one whose future has been messed up by people from my generation. Don't ask. My generation has spoken. What will your generation respond? What else can I say?"
But what do you think, what's going to happen now? Because it's a few weeks ago now, the vote. How does the future look like for
Nobody
the UK,
knows.
for England? No one
We
knows.
voted for something in this box. See this box here?
The black one.
Would you want it or you don't want it? But we never saw it. It could be anything. We never, and the problem was we knew exactly what it meant if we stay. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
And the European Union, I think is a positive thing. But there are some things you just don't understand. Why they changed from Strasbourg to Brussels and all that stuff. It's, it's stupid. So nobody really loves the European Union so much that they would die in the last ditch for it, So that's that problem. And then the people who wanted to leave could say anything. They could say anything was in the box. But what the vote didn't say where we go next.
Yeah.
So what happens is there is a mechanism in the Lisbon Treaty which is called Article 50. And if a country wishes to leave, they must trigger this clause. And then we have 2 years to negotiate an agreement with the European Union, or we must go and have no agreement. So, where we are at the moment, on the table is a loaded gun of Article 50. And nobody, not the Tories or Labour or anybody, wants to pick that gun up and shoot. So we don't know where we are. The question is, does the Prime Minister shoot it? Does Parliament decide? Because in Parliament there is a majority for Remain.
Yeah.
So we're doing nothing. Everyone's like, okay, how we will do this. So I really don't know. I've never known a stranger time in British politics. Never, even during the years of Margaret Thatcher. I've never known a weirder time. But I tell you what, I've never known a more divided time. Badly divided our society is now.
It's not just in Britain. You can see that in so many countries, in Germany as well. Strange times.
It is strange times, and I think it's to do with people are no longer satisfied, right across Europe and in America too, with politicians who only offer to manage the economy.
Yeah.
They want a politician that will transform things. So Trump will transform things, but also Bernie Sanders will transform things. Clinton is not a change candidate, what we call a change candidate. In England, the Labour Party has a new leader, Jeremy Corbyn, and the mainstream politicians in the Labour Party don't want him. They want to get rid of him. The Conservative Party got a new leader without a leadership election because they are so afraid to allow their members. So everybody everywhere is afraid of the voters. Doesn't want to ask the difficult question. Marine Le Pen is out in France. The AFD are here. These are tough times. They're tough times. But in order to deal with that, then the left must offer some kind of progressive transformation to talk about what we're going to do about putting the interests of people before profits. Because during the campaign, the Euro campaign, the people who wished to leave spoke a lot about taking back control. That was their slogan. It's a very powerful slogan. And they weren't just talking about the European Union, they were also talking about Westminster, you know, the British Parliament, but also they were also talking about taking back control from the markets, from the bond market, you know, from globalisation. So there is a story there for the left, if we can find a way to talk about it. But at the moment, you look at what's happening in America and what's happening where we are, I mean...
So it's even more important than in earlier times that you keep on doing what you're doing with the left field, because we're big fans of what you're doing there.
Well, thank you. I'll try very hard.
It's such a nice experience to be there, and it's
thank you.
important to keep that up. And you just had a quick look at the festival.
Yeah.
And I don't know, have you been here last year?
No.
It's the second time they do this kind of festival, and it reminded us a little bit of a very small Glastonbury, because it also has a lot of artists here, theatre, workshops.
We have a word for this in England, this type of festival. It's not a bad word, it's not a derogatory word, we think it's a good word, because it's a festival that is not too big. You know, you if you walk off, you probably find your friends again. We call this a boutique festival.
Okay.
Because it has specific things. It's not just a festival. It has, writers and music and things for kids and good coffee.
Yeah, but what's missing here, that's my opinion, is something like the left field. Something where you could exchange views, political statements, whatever.
I'll tell you what is a good place for that in England is Latitude Festival. Do you know this?
Yeah, from the name.
Yeah, it's in Suffolk, and it's kind of like it's not really a rock festival. It's really an arts festival in a field with bands. It reminds me a bit of this, but it's bigger. It's a bit bigger than this, but it's the same. Maybe it's not actually. Maybe it has more. I haven't seen all the way, but it's a bit like that. And there are more and more of these festivals because the thing about there's two types of festivals, really. There's the festival that's just a gig in a field, cheap beer, black t-shirts. If you're 15, that is brilliant. Reading Festival. Every 15-year-old should go to Reading Festival, get drunk, buy a black t-shirt, stay up all night, maybe take some soft drugs, Everyone should do this. And then there's another festival like this where they're thinking about the type of people they want to engage with, and they think about families, something for kids, and they think about something other than music, and they have a tent in case it rains. You can go and do other things, and quiet stage over there where people can play quietly without doof coming from the big stage. This is a nice festival.
It is. I really like it as well.
But when you come to a festival particularly in a foreign country, you haven't heard before, you've never heard of it, it's very important that you spend a little bit of time trying to suss out what kind of festival it is, what the mood might be, whether the people might or might not speak English. You have to try and... Well, I was in Portugal 2 weeks ago at a festival in a place called Sines, south of Lisbon, and we were there 2 days, so I had plenty of time to realise that most of the people, if I spoke slowly, would understand.
Okay.
And so it's a nice look. It looks nice. Actually, the coffee's good.
I had two of them today.
Always two.
They are great.
You won't sleep. This is always a good sign if there's good coffee. I asked a woman and she pointed me there, so I was like,
Yeah. And are you planning on staying here longer?
No,
the festival?
I'm afraid I am speaking tomorrow at the Edinburgh Festival, at the book festival there, so I will fly out tomorrow morning. But this is what we do on weekends in summer. We find sometimes the field is in Britain, sometimes it's in Europe, sometimes it's in America or Canada. But this is how we make a living now. People want to go to festivals.
And you make a living with music.
And as we talk about America.
Yes.
In September, your new album Shine a Light will be released.
Yep.
Which you recorded with Joe Henry in several railway stations in America. Can you tell us something about that journey?
Sure, I mean, the journey from Chicago to Los Angeles is the longest route that Amtrak run, and takes about 3 days, 65 hours. It's about 2,500 miles. Between Chicago and San Antonio in Texas, so straight down the middle of the country. On that day, we're the only passenger train on the line. You can believe that. And then between San Antonio and Los Angeles, we're the only passenger train for 2 days. Every other train is a freight train. America uses more railroad freight than any other industrialized country, more than Germany, more than Britain. But they just don't, outside of New York, Boston and Washington, they just don't think about passenger trains anymore. And we wanted to look at that again and remind people about the railroad, about its history, about where it is now, but where it could be. On a big continent like that, where a lot of it's flat, you know, you could put a high-speed rail across America that would, you know, get people out of the skies. Trains are more environmentally friendly than aeroplanes and automobiles. So we're trying to work on a number of levels, you know, but with the songs, the railroad songs, we wanted to take them back to where they came from, back to the railroad. So that was the initial idea.
And did you meet any special people or see great places?
We saw some great places, we did. And saw them from an angle that you don't normally see them. You know, normally you see them from the freeway, or very often you see them from 38,000 feet. You know, you don't see them at all. So that was great because the train moves quite slow.
Yeah.
The people on the train, there's only sort of 3 types of people. There's people who can't fly because they are medically unable, they're frightened, or they don't wish to show anybody their ID.
Okay.
So there's those people. Then there's people who used to work on the railroad and still love it, mostly old guys in their 70s. And there's European tourists. And that's all there is. So we did meet them because in the restaurant they don't have enough tables, so you have to share. And it's good because every day you meet someone else. It's interesting.
And did you get to speak to the Americans about what's going on there with the elections and Donald Trump?
Well, this was in March, so it hadn't really, you know,
okay.
it still looked like
Yeah.
Trump would be beaten by someone. It
Yeah.
didn't, you know, but we're touring right up to almost to the election date, so it's going to be tight. Yeah, it was hard.
And what sorry.
No, it's okay. It's just, I worry because Brexit is a warning. Do not be complacent. Just because you think you're going to win doesn't mean you are. So don't, you know, sit around expecting Trump to lose.
Yeah.
Are you worried about the next years to come, especially regarding the American elections? Will it be Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump?
I've been going to America for over 30 years. The American people are not stupid, and they're not aggressive, and they don't have the capacity to turn into a nation of belligerent idiots. I mean, every nation has its own belligerent idiots. We have them, you have them, they have them. Unfortunately, their belligerent idiots have guns, or more guns than our belligerent idiots. But I trust the American people to see through Donald Trump. So I have to be an optimist.
And is Hillary Clinton, obviously she's the better choice, but I don't know if she will be...
She's not a change candidate, is she? No,
as you said,
But also, she's the most unpopular person ever to run for president, except Donald Trump. So this is where the problem is, because you can't rely on her to win. People don't, you know, a lot of people don't really hate her, really don't like her, you know, and they're like, I worry that people won't bother voting, and that will allow Trump to get up in the polls, you know.
But we are no fortune tellers. We will have to wait what they'll do.
We do.
And just quickly get back to the music. You're touring Great Britain and you're touring America. Are there also plans to come to Germany?
Well, there is plans to tour next year, so hopefully, in that context, we'll get some tours in Europe. Yeah, I hope so.
I hope you come to Berlin as well.
We'd love to. We always have a great time in Berlin.
Good, yeah. Let's come to the few last questions.
Yeah. Are you planning? No, you don't plan to see any of the acts here because.
Unfortunately, no. I wish I'd been here earlier to see St. Paul.
Adam Green was great.
Was he? Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah.
He was really good. Are there any German acts you know and like?
German acts off the top of my head. My German acts are all very 1980s, I'm afraid. I'm ashamed to say.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, we are doing a podcast, and do you think podcasting is or could become a good instrument to have discussions or spread thoughts like you do with the Left Field once a year in Glasgow?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Any opportunity to communicate with people is worth taking, you know? Any way you can get your message out there. That's what Malcolm X said, by any means necessary. You know, you write, you sing, you speak, you put out a podcast, you tweet, everything. You know, when I was 19, I only had one option if I wanted to speak about how angry I was about the world. I had to learn to play guitar, write songs and do gigs. You have many options. You can make a film with that phone there that you're recording this on, you can make a film and edit it on that. So you must take those opportunities to be heard and get your voice out there.
We listened to the Distraction Pieces podcast.
Oh yeah.
Where you have been guest, and I just thought he should do a podcast like this.
Me?
Yeah,
Ugh.
you.
I've hardly got time. I'm writing a book anyway. So.
Yeah, but that was every time I see the debates at the left field thing. This could.
It's just a pity that it's just once a year.
Yeah, and it should go out to more people.
Well,
I think, and
we do film them all, and
Okay.
we do try to get the rights off of the festival. The film all belongs to the festival, and I do keep asking them for let us have the film.
Okay. And last question: are you listening to any podcasts yourself?
Am I listening to any podcasts? Not really. No, I think I tend to listen to when I'm on tour to the BBC Radio News. You know, on Radio 4, I've got a little app on my
Okay.
phone, and I kind of pick up on that. So I haven't quite worked out how to. You've got to remember I'm old, so I haven't worked out how to download podcasts onto my phone very well. So, but I think it's a very good way to get ideas out there.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah,
Cool.
we're looking forward to your show tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And we hope, that you have a good time at the festival.
It looks like a good festival. The coffee's good. If the festival is as good as the coffee,
We will remember for the next interview.
Yeah,
To have a
to
good
bring you
coffee.
coffee.
yeah, good coffee.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks
cool,
a lot
thank
for
you.
your time.
Ja, das war Billy Bragg.
Der große Meister.
Die nächste Episode von unserem Podcast wird dann in 2 bis 3 Wochen ein Special vom Lollapalooza sein, vom Lollapalooza Berlin.
Genau, damit werden wir uns, glaube ich, aus dem Festivalsommer so ein bisschen verabschieden.
Haben wir uns ja eigentlich schon, aber das ist ja jetzt hier zu Hause.
Ja, trotzdem Festival.
Ist nicht richtig Festival. Ja, vielen Dank fürs Zuhören. Und wenn ihr uns irgendwie unterstützen wollt, dann oder uns die Meinung sagen wollt, irgendwas richtigstellen wollt, dann schreibt uns eine Mail, schreibt uns einen Kommentar auf der Webseite oder bei Facebook oder bei Twitter oder wo auch immer ihr wollt. Und wenn ihr mögt, dann bewertet doch den Podcast mal bei iTunes oder im Podcast-Portal eurer Wahl. Dann bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss.
Ciao, ciao.